Happy Halloween. Like my bats? Yeah. Remember when Halloween used to be just one day a month, like October 31st? That was kids dressed up in cute little costumes, sometimes scary costumes. They get together with their friends. They go trick-or-treating one day, right? And then the day after, they've, of course, come back with all the candy, which the parents have to either hide or eat. Or we want to save the kids from all that sugar, right? But now it seems like the whole month, like it's stretched out into a whole month of October, is filled with Halloween images, right? And the scarier, the better. The scarier, the better. Have you been into any of those pop-up Halloween stores? You know, they sort of come and go. Well, I guess you do if you're looking for a costume. But I'm telling you, you walk in there, and it is scary. It's like the bloodier, the more mutilated, the more otherworldly you can make it sound, the better. And let's not talk about horror movies, because I don't get it. I mean, I know some people like them. Maybe some people here like horror movies, but I don't quite get it. I think they're getting creepier and creepier, aren't they? Have you seen the trailer for this new movie, Smile? It's this really creepy thing, and it's, oh my God, nothing's safe. So, anyway, that'll go back on October 31st. So it's really not Halloween images and horror movies that is frightening most people today. What's frightening most people today is the uncertainty, right? The uncertainty. How high is inflation going to go? Are we going into a recession? You know, is it a global economic collapse? I mean, what's happening? What's happening to our democracy? You know, it's more fragile than we thought. What's happening to our planet? Are we ever going to take meaningful action to stop climate change? And if we don't, you know, really how much longer do we humans and our animal friends actually have? It's, you know, on the surface, it feels like we're living in very scary times, enough to make you want to jump into bed and pull up the covers over your head and just stay there until it passes. But really, I mean, truthfully, objectively, we're not living in any scarier times than any generation before us. It just feels that way, right? It feels that way because we're bombarded with images and messages from all sides 24/7 with news and the internet and social media. And, you know, the scarier, really the scarier, the better, right? People taking cell phone images, you know, the things that get the most attention, the most likes are recording bad behavior, the worst of humanity, or natural disasters. You know, they get the attention, like the scariest costume. That gets attention, so people stay. And so the social media algorithms are like, you're interested in that, huh? I got some more, where that came from. And then you stay there and, whew, they make more money. Somebody's making money. You know, and I was thinking about this week, and I was thinking, I almost wish that we had social media and cell phones in 1930s Europe with Hitler invading. And if people had taken images of the Holocaust, of the I think it would have ended much sooner. We were watching that Ken Burns documentary, the America and the Holocaust. Oof, wow. Hard to watch, but important. You know, and it really wasn't until everybody saw the images that we all said, okay, let's do something, you know. And the same could be true for any of the atrocities, many atrocities that have happened, you know, over the centuries that we never found out about until later on, right? So, in many ways, we are living in far, far better times. We are, with a couple notable exceptions, we're living in more peaceful times. We are living in vastly more prosperous times, certainly for this country, but also other countries that maybe a century ago were poor, they were considered poor, they're now thriving. So things are shifting. Modern medical advances and knowledge of nutrition have helped us to live longer, more, productive lives. We're able to stay in touch with family and friends that have moved far away. It's like we can beam them into our living rooms virtually. It's a boon for me. My daughter lives 3,000 miles away now. It feels so far until we FaceTime or, do Zoom, and then she's there. More people are meditating now. Everybody knows what meditation is, and most people have tried it. More people are doing yoga. There's a yoga class in every YMCA and senior center. You can find it anywhere. When I was doing it, many years ago, when I was a teenager, it was considered weird. Right? And that was Southern California. I can't imagine what it was like here. It was non-existent, right? So now we're doing it. More people are eating less meat. They're becoming aware of that issue. More people are recycling. More people are actually taking action to reduce their carbon footprint. Our consciousness is raising. Our consciousness is expanding. The collective consciousness is healing. And probably more important than that is that you and I, all of you and I, and many others are becoming aware of our divine identity and the divine identity of others. We're becoming aware of our oneness, that we're all expressions of this one divine light, that more people are becoming aware of this. More people are understanding that we're not a victim of circumstance, that we're not a victim of anything in our external world, that we're powerful co-creators, right? We're powerful co-creators, and it is our perceptions of life that create our experience of it. And we can change our perceptions. We can embrace higher, more positive perspectives, possibilities, and then that becomes our experience. That becomes our experience. More of us are becoming aware that our challenges are opportunities for growth. More and more people have heard that expression, that AFGO thing, another fabulous growth opportunity. That's becoming kind of common. So, so that obviously the perspective is changing. People go, oh, it's a growth opportunity. I can use this to grow, to develop some talent, some gifts, some strengths that some I didn't even know I had. More people are becoming aware of our 12 powers. This crazy idea that somebody by the name of Charles Fillmore had over a century ago, that we have these power centers within us, these access points to specific qualities of our spiritual power. More people are finding out about this. They're learning about this. They're using it. They're activating it. Activating, we'll talk today about the power of faith, which is centered here in the center of our head, which is the power of faith. It's not belief, right? It's a deep inner knowing at our core, that we are sourced by infinite love. We're sourced by infinite love. And we're proving it to ourselves that as we jump into the law of circulation and give of our time and our talents and our treasure, that we experience an increase of joy and love and abundance. We're learning that as we increase the amount of energy and love and resources that we share, we experience an increase in livingness, in joyous, abundant living. So all of these things are really helping us to untie the knots that have held us captive to this idea of being a victim. We're taking off the scary glasses, right? We're refusing to listen to fearmongers. And we're switching out the lenses with which we view the world, which we view life. So, in my view, we're living in far, far better times. And things are just getting better and better. So, there is a farmer by the name of Joe, and he lives in Washington State, where he has a beautiful apple orchard, huge apple orchard, those delicious Washington State apples. And he has been tending this apple orchard, that these apples have been bearing rich fruit for many years. And he's done very well for himself. He's done well. He's got a happy family. He's sent his kids, he's putting his 4 children through college. And he's got a beautiful home in the hillside overlooking this valley where his apple orchard is. And life is good. But recently he's been worried. He's been fearful. He's had sleepless nights. He's been worried about, inflation. He's been worried about recession. He's seen the loss, several $100,000 in his investment accounts. He wonders if it's all going to come to an end. Is buyers going to pull back? Is it all going to unravel? And he's filled with fear. And so one afternoon he goes out into his apple orchard and to commune with his trees. So Joe secretly likes to communicate with his apple trees, and he likes to think that they communicate back. And see, he goes and he sits under one of his favorite apple trees, and he shares his concerns. He voices it aloud. I'm afraid that the orders are not going to come in like they were, and it's all going to, fall apart. I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. I'm not going to be able to, pay those tuition payments, for my kids to go to college. What's going to happen? Maybe I should let go of some of my employees. Maybe I should sell off my equipment. I'm very concerned. And so the apple tree responds back. Good invitation. Thank you. And says, well, I don't know about all that, but I'm still appling. And all of my brother and sister apple trees are still appling. And we'll continue to apple because that's what we do. We share of our gifts. That's who we are. We'll continue to apple. So I don't know what you're saying, but I'm looking around. I'm seeing nothing but abundance. Plenty. And so Farmer Joe takes us in. And slowly his perception begins to shift. And he thinks, And he looks around him and he sees an abundance of apples. More apples than you could ever possibly count. There's plenty. And he takes that in. And he just is in the presence of abundance, in the presence of plenty. And suddenly, ideas, creative ideas, and solutions begin to occur to him. And he takes a breath and says, thank you. So my friend Derek Rydell says in his book, The Abundance Project, he says, remember, there is infinite potential locked up within you. So if you want more to come into your life, you must find a way to let more come out of you. It doesn't matter what the outer circumstances are. They have no power to determine what you can create and contribute. Your potential is always greater than the problem. All power, all supply, truly everything that you could possibly need is within you. If you shrink to fit a condition, you constrict the channel through which the solution and the evolution flow. If you expand in the face of contraction, becoming a big enough, strong enough channel, you embody the answer you're looking for. If you shrink to fit a condition, you constrict the channel through which the solution can flow. If you expand in the face of contraction, becoming a big enough, strong enough channel, you embody the answer you're looking for. Expanding in the face of contraction. It's not easy. Honestly, it's not easy, right? When we have a very real appearance in our life of limitation, when we have an outward experience of loss or lack, the first thing we want to do is pull back, right? Pull in, constrict. But we're constricting the channel through which the answer flows, through which the solution flows. In other words, the creative ideas for, what we can do, what we can, what we can share, what we can give. It's like, if you try to limit the amount that you're exhaling, just a little tiny bit, just exhale just a little tiny bit. It makes it really hard to take a big in-breath, doesn't it? And if you keep doing that, you're going to pass out. So please don't. See? It's like it takes practice to train the brain to understand that life is created from the inside out, that we receive when we give, that we experience a greater degree of livingness when we jump in with both feet and say yes. Let's all say yes. 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 Jumping in with both feet. The potential, our potential is greater than the problem. And there are problems. Don't get me wrong, I'm not denying that there are problems. Big ones, right? So we need to all realize our potential. We need to all work together and allow those creative solutions, those creative ideas to be realized. Because recessions and depressions are caused by people who pull in out of fear. There's not enough. I'm afraid there's not going to be enough. And then that fear begins to rule. And then enough people have that fear, and it takes on a life of its own. It creates an energy. And all the while, the apple tree is going, I see nothing but abundance. I see plenty. I am plenty. I am abundance. Let's say that together. I am plenty. I am abundance. I am the expression of the infinite givingness of the universe. I am the expression of the infinite givingness of the universe. And that will continue to be true when we continue to nurture the trees. In other words, nurture our consciousness, nurture that abundance consciousness, and tap into the potential, to tap into our potential, which is greater than the problem. And then, creative ideas. We get stronger. We learn new skills, new abilities, new ways of relating, new ways of being. Our guidance guides us into the right place at the right time. As long as we're nurturing, We're nurturing that consciousness. We're nurturing with love. With love. That's key, staying connected with our heart. Letting that heart lead us. We're taking off the scary glasses. We're living from the inside out. Right? Okay, namaste.